Hi everyone. In this series of the articles, now we are going to see articles related to Supreme Court. Article 124, Establishment and Constitution of Supreme Court. Article 124A, National Judicial Appointment Commission. Article 124B, Function of Commission. Article 124C, Power of Parliament to make law. Article 125, Salaries etc. of the judges. Article 126, Appointment of Acting Chief Justice. Article 127, Appointment of ad hoc judges. Article 128, Attendance of retired judges at sitting of the Supreme Court. Article 129, Supreme Court to be court of record. Article 130, Seat of Supreme Court. Article 131, Original jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Article 131A, Exclusive jurisdiction of Supreme Court in regard to questions as to constitutional validity of central laws, repealed. Article 132, Appellate jurisdiction of Supreme Court in appeals from High Court in certain cases. 133, Appellate jurisdiction of Supreme Court in appeals from High Court in regard to civil matters. 134, Appellate jurisdiction of Supreme Court in regard to criminal matters. 134A, Certificate for appeal to the Supreme Court. 135, Jurisdiction and powers of the Federal Court under existing law to be exercisable by Supreme Court. 136, Special leave to appeal by the Supreme Court. 137, Review of judgments or orders by the Supreme Court. 138, Enlargement of the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Article 139, Conferment on the Supreme Court of powers to issue certain writs. Article 139A, Transfer of certain cases. 140, Ancillary powers of Supreme Court. 141, Law declared by Supreme Court to be binding on all courts. 142, Enforcement of decree and order of Supreme Court and orders as to discovery etc. Article 143, Powers of President to consult Supreme Court. Article 144, Civil and judicial authorities to act in aid of the Supreme Court. 144A, Special provisions as to disposal of questions and relating to constitutional validity of laws. This is repealed. Article 145, Rules of Court etc. Article 146, Officers and servants and the expenses of the Supreme Court. Article 147, Interpretation. थैंक यू फॉर दिस वीडियो. अगली वीडियो में हम देखने वाले हैं कंट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया.